My friends, welcome to my channel. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and press the bell icon.
Today we are going to start the topics, that is last chapter's topics related to international international failure, how the government fell in the international sector, or how the government protect the situations by using the different methodology. In this regard, we are going to check. Yes, that's regulations of international competition. Before that, then I will try to, I'm going to detail about the pollutions there. There was one curve related to pollutions. It is very important. And I hope you students got the slides and requested to, share this slide to your friends, okay? Today or in the morning, I have already seen that slide. Then today, first of all, I am going to review of the previous diagram that is related to types of government responses to market failure. It is also related to optimal level of pollution control. That pollution controls generally, one side we are doing in our organization or firm means one side we have the liability to control the pollutions there. At the same time, the government also prepare various policies and programs to control the environmental pollutions there. And therefore, to control the environmental pollutions, the government must increase the expenditure for the pollution control. And therefore, when the government increases the budget for the pollution control, at that time, that pollutions become less and less. On the contrary, there, if the government pays the high cost for the pollution control, at that time, as your institutions or your water industry or enterprises is your private, then you no need to expense more amount for the pollution control. Therefore, you have to be very clear about it, whether the government is spending more for the pollution control or not, or what is your responsibility in your firm or industry or enterprises to control it. Not then there would be a different problems there. The people will come to your doorsteps and ask to control it. Therefore, before saying this, then you should be a very clever CEO of a company. Then there would not be the problems by the others. You have to control it yourself before raising any questions about it. Yes? Okay. Therefore, here you can see the diagram. You can see the diagram of this pollution control. See there, cost of pollution control, social marginal cost. It is, made by the government. And this is what the cost of pollution, this is cost of pollution control, by the private marginal cost there, prepared by the private marginal. What happened there, you can see, the quantity of pollution is emitted, increases there. Then cost of pollution control also, increases there. Then decreases. And what happened there, the cost of pollution control, this is also related to social marginal cost is increasing. At the same time, private marginal cost is decreasing there. Therefore, quantity of pollution control emitted there. This is interrelated. Therefore, one is upward sloping for the expenditure and another is downward sloping of the expenditures there. Yeah, you can see the what the equilibrium conditions. What happened there? Yes, if you see the equilibrium conditions, you can see that yes, the optimal level of pollution control. This is what their upward sloping curve. This is SMC social cost, marginal cost, which is what there incurred by the government sector. सरकारले खर्च गर्यो, कति खर्च गर्यो भने increasing amount मा खर्च गर्यो भने जति जति सरकारले खर्च गर्दै जान्छ त्यति त्यति हाम्रो कस्ट भनेको तपाईको इन्डस्ट्री और एन्टरप्राइजेस को कस्ट चाहिँ के हुन्छ that private marginal cost is decreasing there. What is the equilibrium condition? E is the equilibrium condition in which what happens there? Private marginal cost and social marginal cost equalize there, and then the country will able to what there? Yes, imitate this amount of what there pollutions there at which cost? OC cost there. At OC cost. This is the what phenomena of pollution control. This is also a very challenge of the government. One side is as well as it is the challenge of the private sectors together. Therefore, we have to sit together and we have to make the collaborative approach to control it. But you are paying the tax means what there? Your right is what? Questions to the government. What level of what? What level of pollution is controlled by the government? Yeah? Yes, exactly in your outside. But the government doesn't come to the water, your inside, means inside your industry or enterprises. At that time, you have to pay the certain amount of water marginal cost for this purpose. When you make the budget, at that time, you have to put the topics of private marginal cost for the, yes, like cost of your fund or your fund for the pollution control from your industry or enterprises, yes. And then you can get the good environmental situation. That is also another challenge to you. Okay, this is about the equilibrium conditions. Now you can see that now this is the equilibrium condition. Then you can see the types of government response to market failures or regulating the environmental pollutions there. What are these? Yes, there are. Yes, methods of regulating environmental pollutions are following are given below. One, direct regulations. It means that the government will prepare different kinds of policies from which, yes, the government panel the public people or industry or enterprises there, yes, to control the pollutions. Suppose what happens there? We can see there, हामी सुन्छौं नि कहीं कतै यहाँ कसैले पोल्युसन गर्यो फोहोर गर्यो भने यति हजार दण्ड जरिवाना लाग्छ भनेको हुन्छ. What is that? That is direct regulation. यदि यो इन्डस्ट्री अफ फर्मले यो लेभलको इन्भाइरोमेन्टल पोल्युसन गर्यो भने यो लेभलको फाइन तिर्नुपर्छ भने सरकारले के गरेको छ ऐन नियमद्वारा चाहिँ अबाइड गरेको हुन्छ. Next, pollution tax there. The government pays the pollution tax from the, yes, from the industry or enterprises there. And next, that is issue of transferable emission permits there. If any transferable emission permits there, then government prepare different water mechanisms to collect the what? To collect the, yes, that types of polluted things, and yes, and give the permission to those people who can involve in this, and from which also the government what there, yes, control the environment there. For this purpose also the government must pay very large amount of cost. And next, that is public awareness. Yes, you can see that public awareness. Yes, the government what? Yes, advertise various things through the television or radios there, then to give the public awareness regarding to the pollutions and what are the, yes, various default of the environmental pollution, what are the health, water problems from this and that. And at that time also what the government main objective is to, yes, is to control the environmental pollution and regulation through subsidies there. Sometimes the government what they pays or give the various subsidies, that means what they to those industries or enterprises who have not been what they, yes, like yes, making the pollutions from the certain level of point, or can maintain the certain level of point of the environmental control. At that time, then the government can give the water certain level of certain level of subsidy. And other side, you can listen that, or you can what there. Yes, over that, the government is giving what there various kinds of exemptions to those industrial enterprises who have not been what there making the high pollution. हामी सुन्छौँ नि त त्यसले त्यस्ता उद्योगहरू जसले चाहिँ पल्युसन फ्री गर्छन् या पल्युसनलाई चाहिँ घटाउन काम गर्छन् त्यस्ताहरूलाई चाहिँ सरकारले 10% ट्याक्सहरू दिन्छ ट्याक्स फ्री गर्छ त्यो भनेकै के हो भन्दा सब्सिडिज हो त्यो सब्सिडिज अरु भनेको उसले चाहिँ त्यस्ता उद्योगहरूलाई सर्टेन लेभल्स अफ इन्भेस्टमेन्ट चाहिँ के गर्छ भने बढाइदिन्छ र त्यस्ता इन्डस्ट्रिजहरूलाई के गर्छ बैंकमा चाहिँ केही पर्सेन्टेज चाहिँ के त मानौ तपाई हामी कोही बैंकमा छौं भने सर्टेन पर्सेन्टेज चाहिँ रेट अफ इन्ट्रेस्ट त्यस्ता उद्योगहरुमा चाहिँ घटाउन सक्छौं हो यस्ता कुराहरु चाहिँ के गर्छ भने इन्भाइरोमेन्टल पल्युसन्सलाई कन्ट्रोल गर्छ र रेगुलेट गर्छ Then today we are going to discuss about the regulation of international competition. Certainly, international regulation of international competition means that you understand that we have to, yes, as a government need to regularize the export and import situations of the country there. Therefore, international competition refers to the competition between the producer of two or more countries. The regulation of international competition means protecting domestic firm or producer or industries from foreign competitions there. You can see here from foreign competition. The main of this regulation of the international competition is to raise export and reduce import and try to be a self-sufficient country there. Therefore, there are many ways of regulating international competition or trade. The most important ways or instruments of regulating international competition or trade are tariffs, quotas, voluntary restraints, anti-dumping duties, as well as technical and administrative regulations. An import tariff is simply a tax on imports. It means it increases the prices of domestic consumers and reduces the quantity demanded. If the government imposes the tariff tax or increases the tariff, at that time what happens? That foreign product becomes high costly or high priced there. And the government hope that then when the price becomes more and then the consumer will cut off their consumptions. Yes, and can divert the that consumptions, just like consumptions to the other same substitutive goods which are available in the country, or yes. And other sides there, encourages the domestic production from the import, substitutes there. This is the regulation of international competition. In simple, you have to understand that the regulation of international competition is the regulation of import and export, but at the same time, the government always tries to seek to protect the national industries or enterprises. And for this purpose, the government, prepare various policies and programs to control to control that kinds of things which are coming more from the abroad, and advance the policies to protect the national produced there. For example, what you listen there, the government is trying to impose high tax on agricultural product. Why? Because agro product there. Why? Because nowadays we can see there a lot of farmers not been able to sell their vegetables there. Even somewhere you can see there other kinds of their agro product. Then what the government can do on this? Then certainly the government can do only one thing, that is it doesn't make barriers, but it can control. How? By increasing the tariff cost for this and maintaining the other level of standard. Yes. How it does on it? It's कसरी काम गर्छ त? We can see there. Yes. How the government control it? You can see this red line is domestic supply. Domestic supply. You can see here. And this blue line is domestic demand. Domestic demand. And you can see here this WS green line, it is what? It is the, yes, it is the supply or international supply. Is this international supply first. Now you can see it is, suppose it is the imports of the goods. And you can see here first positions there. What happened when price is P1? P1. We need the international demand and supply equilibrium. This is a D point. You can see my cursor, a D point. There is the what? There is the equilibrium of domestic demand and international supply there. International supply. Now the price is what? Price is P1. You can see here P1, and total international supply is what? Q4. Q4. But our national product for the same good is what? Only Q1. Only Q1. This is our product. Now we are importing the amount of what? Q1 to Q4. You can see the total imports of that goods. Suppose this good is what? This good is what? Like vegetables amount there, or fruits amount, or food grains amount, or anything. Yes, you can see. Yes. Now what happened? Now the government imposes the what? Tariff policies there. Yes, effect of tariff. Yes, on import by increasing the what? Tariff or taxes on the import. Yes, you can see the price of that commodity increased by P2 due to the imposing of what? Tax to the same goods by the government. Then what happened there? You can see now our second equilibrium condition is C. C, what happened there? At that point or at that time, the government, yes, the import is decreased. It is by Q4 to Q3. It is decreased there. When the price is what there? Increase from P1 to P2. It means what? Now, some consumers are cut off their product. Yes, sorry, consumptions from this high price there. And they try to substitute the what there? National product there. Now what happened then? When the price is increased there, you can see here. Yeah. Yes, Dhruba Rizal, you are raising hand. What is your question? You can unmute and then you can, yes, answer. Yes, raise the question. Dhruba Rizal.
Yes, sir. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Any question?
Not really, sir. Like it was mistaken.
Oh, thank you very much. And you have to understand this water figure very well. Here, what happened? The price is increased by OP1 to OP2. You can see due to the cause of tax or tariffs. Yes, tariffs. Now, what happened? New equilibrium price is C. In this situation, what happened? Yes, certainly. In this situation, you can see there, yes, your import is decreased by Q4 to Q3 due to the increase of your consumption price by imposing the tariffs tax. And what happened there? Now you start to, our national product start to increase the production from Y, OQ1 to OQ2. Why? Because now you have the what there? Right time to increase your same types of product in the country, even at the high price also there. Why? Because the government is trying to protect your product, your industry. Yes, by substituting your product on the what their imports of this amount of goods there, this Q3, Q4 amount of goods. Or again increase, then what happens? Certainly, we can go up to the situation of equilibrium point E. Yes, at that time, you are ready to what there? Substitute all amount of what? Yes, imports in the country. If you go continuously up to E, if the government increases the same price there, P1 to P2 and P3, and like that. This happens in the country. Therefore, whether the situation of the tariff, you have to calculate it very properly, okay? Yes. Therefore, this is very important figure regarding to the tariff. Yes. Or yes, protection of the national product by stopping or decreasing the what? Yes, decreasing the foreign product. Now, you can see regulation of international competition. How the government regulate the international competition? Yes, first of all, the government must have the objectives of regulation of international competitions there. The major objectives of regulating international competitions are trade are as follows. First, to increase domestic output. Certainly, the government always tries to increase the domestic output, domestic product. Second, to increase the employment opportunities within the country. Yes, by increasing the number of industries in the country. And next, to increase revenue of the governments there. Yes, because from the tariff, the government can generate more level of tariff revenue. And next, to discourage import and encourage exports there. And next, to promote well-being of people in the country there. These are the main objectives of the government to regulate the international competitions there. At that time, the objectives of a government is to protect you or your industry or enterprise there and save the money in the country, use it for the other further developments there. Yes, that can always seek to self-dependence country as much as possible. Now, what are the methods of regulation of international competition then? What are the main methods or instruments which can help to control the international competition or trade? The major method of instruments of this regulation of international competition are as follows. First is tariffs, what we already discussed. And next, the government fixed the quotas. Yes, यति मात्रै चाहिँ के गर्ने इम्पोर्ट गर्ने यो भन्दा गर्न पाइदैन भनेर फिक्स गर्छ quota. Next, embargoes means the government can make certain policies that helps to bargain and then fix and somewhat restrict what happen. We can increase this amount of we can import this amount of goods only, not more than that. And next, voluntary export restraints. Sometimes what happen? Yes, sometimes what happen? The government doesn't give to permit to export the same goods which are very necessary in the country. देशमै आवश्यक छ भने त्यस्ता वस्तुहरूलाई चाहिँ सरकारले के गर्दैन भने एक्सपोर्ट गर्नका निम्ति अनुमति दिदैन. त्यस्तै सब्सिडिज दिए त्यस्ता वस्तुहरू जसले नेशनल एम्प्लॉयमेन्ट चाहिँ इन्क्रिज गर्न सक्छ र जनताको आम्दानीलाई इन्क्रिज गर्न सक्छ र फरेन चाहिँ के त इम्पोर्टलाई चाहिँ सब्स्टिट्युट गर्न सक्छ भने त्यस्ता ठाउँहरुमा चाहिँ सब्सिडिजहरू दिन्छ. त्यसै भएर अहिले सरकारले के भन्दैछ भने 500 भन्दा बढी रोजगारी दिनेहरूको 5 वर्षसम्म या कति वर्षसम्म ट्याक्स नलिने भनिरहेको छ, इन्कम ट्याक्स नलिने भनिरहेको छ. त्यस्तै अनि देशको कच्चा पदार्थहरू उपभोग गरेर अनि उत्पादन सुरु गर्ने विभिन्न उद्योगहरूलाई अनि 17% सब्सिडिजहरू छ. त्यस्तै गरेर अनि कृषि जन्य र अनि आयुर्वेदिक औषधि क्षेत्रका औषधहरूलाई चाहिँ विभिन्न मेसिन खरिदमा देखि लिएर विभिन्न ठाउँमा चाहिँ के छ सब्सिडिजहरू छ. त्यस्तै अरु विभिन्न सर्भिसहरुमा चाहिँ त्यस्तो सब्सिडीहरु के गर्न सक्छ सरकारले इन्क्रिज गर्न सक्छ त्यसले गर्दा के गर्न सक्छ भने इन्टरनेशनल प्रोडक्ट फरेन प्रोडक्टलाई नेपालमा के ल्याउनु पर्ने किन्नु पर्ने आवश्यकता हुँदैन र हामी चाहिँ त्यतापट्टि इन्करेज हुन्छौं अर्को एन्टी डम्पिङ पोलिसीज त्यस्ता कुराहरु त्यस्तो वस्तुहरु चाहिँ के हुन सक्छ भने यदि हामीले एक्सपोर्टलाई कहिलेकाहीँ के हुन्छ भने अलिकति यो कन्डिसन्सलाई आफ्नो पक्षमा पार्नका निम्ति एन्टी डम्पिङ ड्युटीज भन्ने बित्तिकै हामी के बुझ्छौं भने हामीले हाम्रो प्रोडक्टहरु चाहिँ के गर्ने विदेशमा चाहिँ बरु सस्तोमा बेच्ने हामी कहाँ चाहिँ महँगोमा बेच्ने त्यस्तो पोलिसीलाई हामी एन्टी डम्पिङ पोलिसी भन्छौं यु नो अबाउट इट है तपाईहरुलाई यो थाहा छ र त्यस्तो वस्तुहरुमा यदि कसैले चाहिँ हामी कहाँ बेच्न खोज्यो भने त्यस्तो वस्तुहरु चाहिँ के गर्छ सरकारले त्यसमा फेरि अर्को ट्यारिफ चाहिँ थप्छ र यसरी पनि सरकारले त्यस्ता वस्तुहरुलाई कन्ट्रोल गर्ने गर्छ These are the very good regulations systems there. Yes. Now, problems of regulations. Certainly, the government always face the problems to regulate it. Why? Because sometimes there are lot of other national and international obstacles there. For example, in NAPI's context there, we have to enter in the WTO. हामी WTO मा इन्टर भइसकेका छौं यसको अर्थ के हो भने हामी चाहिँ के गर्न सक्दैनौं कयौं वस्तुहरुलाई चाहिँ हामीले रोक्न सक्दैनौं तर पनि हामी के गर्नु रोक्न चाहिँ चाहिरहेका हुन्छौं in that time what happens there अनि त्यस्तै relations हुन्छ different types of treaties in between one country to another country there suppose this treaty in between Nepal and India, in between Nepal and China, in between Nepal and international communities, international other countries there. Other countries को बीचमा चाहिँ के हुन्छ भने त्यस्तो गर्न गरिरहेको हुन्छ यी कुराहरुमा चाहिँ यदि these are not in favor of us at that time the government always face the problems there and for this purpose the government must raise a lot of methods, yes, and capacities into the country to control it through the other measures there. Therefore, you can see there while regulating the economy, various problems arise, which are as follows there. First, cost of regulations there. The government must monitor all kinds of imports and export situation very properly in the customs there, customs. For this purpose, the government must spend adequate level of expenditures there on the very much staffing, administrative cost, and even need to prepare. What we listen there, हामी सुन्दै थियौं अनि सरकारले चाहिँ अनि इन्डियाबाट आउने कहीं के त अनि तरकारी जन्य वस्तुहरुलाई चाहिँ रोक्नु पर्यो त्यसको लागि चाहिँ विषादी के कच्चा चेक गरेर मात्रै चाहिँ के गरौं अनि इन्ट्री गरौं भनेर चाहिँ सबै नाकामा के गर्न खोज्दै थियो भने त्यहाँ विषादी चेकिङ सेन्टरहरु खोल्न खोज्दै थियो हामीसँग यो एउटा पनि थिएन अनि भएका पनि राम्रो काम गर्ने छैनन् त्यतिखेर के त धेरै ह्युज अमाउन्ट अफ एक्सपेन्डिचर वाज नेडेड कस्ट चाहिएको थियो त्यहाँ चाहिँ मेकानिजम चाहिएको थियो र नि मेकानिजम हुँदै पनि फेरि के भयो दुई देशको ट्रिटी बीचमा चाहिँ यस्तो चाहिँ गर्न मिल्दैन भन्ने खालको छ त्यसले यस्तो गर्न पाइन्न भन्ने समेत कुराहरु पनि आए केही समय राख्यो त्यसपछि इन्डियाको दबावमा चाहिँ कयौं ठाउँबाट त्यो निकाले तर पनि के हो भने फेरि यो पनि के त भने विषादी कुरा चेक त गर्नै पर्ने हुन्छ नि त तर अब हामी फेरि न्यू डायलग गरेर यो कुराहरुमा यो लेभलहरुमा हामी चाहिँ के त कन्ट्रोल गर्छौं भन्ने कुराको एउटा फेरि नेक्स्ट ट्रिटी इज रिक्वायर्ड देयर agreement is required in between two countries. At that time, yes, the government must be very, very aware about it. And other sides, then the government must pay the high level of cost on this. And next, effects on efficiency. What is the efficiency of the staffings there? Administrative mechanisms there. The administrative mechanisms, it is not there very much efficient. And they always seek for the extra money. हामी कहिलेकाहीँ सुन्छौं नि त कहिलेकाहीँ हामी के सुन्छौं भने एफिसियन्सी कम भयो अनि चाहिँ प्रत्येक नाकामा कस्टम्सहरुमा चाहिँ हामी चाहिँ पूर्व मेचीदेखि पश्चिम महाकालीसम्म त्यस्तै गरेर हाम्रो चाहिँ के रे इन्टरनेशनल एयरपोर्टमा हामी के सुन्छौं कहिलेकाहीँ विभिन्न चुहावटहरु भए हो सुनहरु चाहिँ यतिकै आए भन्ने सुन्छौं हामी हो चेकिङ भएन या के भएन भन्ने सुन्छौं त्यस्तै गरी त्यो नाकाहरुमा उठ्नु पर्ने जति रासु उठेन या चाहिँ त्यसको त्यो भ्यालु चाहिँ राम्ररी भएन what is that it is the yes efficiency of the what stoppings there and others mechanism there now what the government role certainly the government must improve its role regarding to the water regarding to the high trained capable persons there and various equipments and tools establishment there to regulate it and to check it very properly. And next, the government must aware of the people's, yes, from the corruptions there, and leakages there. Yes, therefore, that kind of efficiency is very, yes, required. And next, the poor information. Another problem for the regulation is what is poor information. You don't have, if the government, yes, doesn't have the adequate level of information regarding that import and exports, and how to control it, how to improve it, how to, yes, increase the capacity in productions there, how to establish the various industries to substitute that goods in. Yes. At that time also that we want to be able to control all these export and imports. Therefore, that poor information. And from this and other things there, the government must have the total catching capacity of all the export and imports through the very effective IT-based mechanisms there. Everything should go and come through the entry of that computerized systems there, where everything should be yes, very black and white. सबै कुरा एक सरकारले देख्न सकोस् बुझ्न सकोस् 1 केजी चाहिँ के रे लमानो एक ट्रक चाहिँ चिनी बिरगन्जमा चाहिँ बाट इन्ट्री गर्यो भने यहाँको सरकारको चाहिँ के त इन्फर्मेसनमा त्यो आउनु पर्यो कति बराबरको आयो कति ट्याक्स तिर्यो कति के भयो हामीले एक कप चिया पनि खान्छौं भने हामीले कति ट्याक्स तिर्यौं र हामीले कति चाहिँ खर्च गर्यौं सरकारको आम्दानीमा के आयो भन्ने कुराको इन्फर्मेसन यदि डिटेल भयो भने what happens certainly the government can solve all this like this means solve the problems but we are talking about import and export here है हुन त हामीले यहाँ एक्सपोर्ट एन्ड इम्पोर्ट को कुरा गर्दै छौं तर पनि सरकारसँग हरेक इन्फर्मेसन रहनु पर्छ भन्ने कुरा र हामीले पनि थाहा पाउनु पर्छ भन्ने कुरा uncertainty means here you can see there in a police context every year the government has been changing सरकार चाहिँ के हुन्छ चेन्ज भइरहन्छ अर्थमन्त्री अब अस्ति भर्खर राखेको अब चेन्ज गर्न पर्ने भन्ने एउटा सरकारले या एउटा चाहिँ अर्थमन्त्रीले विभिन्न चाहिँ के त आफ्नो मेथोडोलोजी लगाएर अनि चाहिँ के गरेको हुन्छ भने डिफरेन्ट मेकानिजम्सहरु तयार गरेको हुन्छ मेकानिजम्सहरु एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिभ टर्म्सहरु अर्को आउँदाखेरि त्यो मेकानिजम मन नपर्न सक्छ अनि के हुन्छ व्हाट ह्यापन एन्ड अदर थिङ देयर वुड बी द डिलेमा वेदर इट कुड बी कन्टिन्युड अर नट यो कन्टिन्यू गर्ने हो होइन भन्ने कुराको चाहिँ के हुन्छ बेलामा हुन्छ र अनि उनीहरुको लेभल अफ थिंकिङले के गर्छ त्यसलाई चाहिँ के गर्छ कहिले काहीँ क्वालिफाई पनि गर्छ कहिले डिस्क्वालिफाई गर्छ यस अवस्थामा बट एट दैट टाइम द गभर्नमेन्ट मस्ट सेट आउट समथिङ शुड बी देयर इनहेरिटेबल केही कुराहरु त चाहिँ पहिला भइरहेका कुरालाई चाहिँ लगातार ल्याउनु पर्छ तर पनि के हुन्छ भने कहीं कतै विवेक चाहिँ अलिकति कम हुँदाखेरि या बढी हुँदाखेरि अझै राम्रो गर्न सक्छु भनेर गर्दाखेरि त राम्रो हो तर पनि भएका कुराहरु चाहिँ कहिले के हुन्छ त्यसलाई चाहिँ कन्टिन्यू नगर्ने कुरा विशेष गरेर कन्टिन्यू नगर्ने कुरा रह्यो भने के हुन्छ भने हाम्रो मेकानिजमहरु चाहिँ काम गर्न छोड्छ त्यसैले द गभर्नमेन्ट मस्ट ह्याभ दैट certainty about the stability of the government on one side and stability of the administrative mechanisms and stability of the others IT-based mechanisms there to control and to into data and what they exit it or it should be very familiar for the all the authority persons. Next, regulatory lag. Regulatory lag means here this is the lag in between what the previous year to this year to what the coming year. यी कुराहरु कन्टिन्युटी छन् कि छैन बीचमा के छ कहिले यो चेन्ज कहिले उ चेन्ज कहिले यसो चेन्ज गर्ने कसो यता चेन्ज हुने यतापट्टि हामी यो कुनै पनि कुरा गर्न सक्छौँ कि एउटा कर्मचारी त्यहाँ 6 महिना पुगेको छैन गएको उसले मेकानिजम अलिकति हेर्न पाएको छैन चेन्ज भयो भनेर फेरि अर्को कर्मचारी पुगिसक्यो अर्को कुरा भनेको अब उसको क्यापासिटी के थियो पछि जाने कर्मचारीको क्यापासिटी के छ उसको फिलिङ के छ उसको ट्रेनिङ के छ उसको लिङ्केज के छ द्याट इज द भेरी लिङ्केज हो यी सबै कुराहरूले पनि के गर्छ रेगुलेटरी ल्याग अर्को कुरा रेगुलेटरी ल्याग इज रिलेटेड टु आर देयर आर पोलिसिज देयर एन्ड प्रोग्राम वाट द गभर्मेन्ट प्रिपेयर सरकारले के पोलिसी र प्रोग्राम्सहरू बनाउँछ यस कुराहरूले पनि के गर्छ भने डिटरमाइन गर्छ एन्ड नेक्स्ट लबिङ कस्ट देयर this lobbying cost means that the government yes should be very capable to send or export our product to the what their international market हाम्रो उत्पादनलाई उत्पादन भएर मात्र त पुगेन नि त त्यो उत्पादनलाई संसारका विभिन्न देशहरुमा बेच्न सक्ने क्षमता राख्नु पर्यो यसको लागि लबिङ गर्नु पर्ने हुन्छ अहिले हामी हेर्दै छौं नि अनि अमेरिका र चीनको बीचमा चीनले धेरै वस्तुहरु अनि के गर्छ भने अमेरिकामा बेच्छ र अहिले त इभन इन्डियामा पनि बेच्छ कत्रो युद्ध हुँदाखेरि पनि अहिले उनीहरु के भन्दैछन् भने हैन यी वस्तुहरु चाहिँ त के रे रेगुलेट गरौँ बरु यी कुराहरु चाहिँ घटाउँ भने उनीहरु चाहिँ के गरिरहेछन् एक आपसमा चाहिँ फेरि अर्को कर्नरबाट फेरि वस्तु बेच्न सकिन्छ कि कन्ट्रोल हुन्छ कि के हुन्छ कि भने अर्को चाहिँ के छ दुःख पनि छ तर हामीले के गर्न सक्छौं लबिङ फर वाट लबिङ फर the what their export of goods to the international market there. At that time, we have to make various policies and programs one side, and we have to visit there. We have to what there, yes, see the market, and yes, and next we have to open the various center in the various center city of the what there foreign countries there. For this purpose also we have to what there convince to the yes the government authority, the government first and government authority and even somewhat respect that what cities authority. Therefore there are a lot of things what we do हामीले यस्तो कुरा गर्नुपर्छ ताकि हाम्रो चाहिँ वस्तु त्यहाँ चाहिँ के गर्न सकियोस् एक्सपोर्ट गर्न सकियोस् that time also we will able to what sell our product adequately हामी प्रशस्त हाम्रो बेच्न सक्यौं भने हाम्रो ब्यालेन्स अफ ट्रेड लाई चाहिँ के गर्न सक्छौं हाम्रो ब्यालेन्स अफ ट्रेड चाहिँ के गर्न सक्छौं पोजिटिभ गर्न सक्छौं एन्ड ब्यालेन्स अफ पेमेन्ट लाई चाहिँ पोजिटिभ गर्न सक्छौं त्यतिखेर मात्रै हाम्रो के हुन सक्छ भने नेशनल इन्कम चाहिँ रेज हुन सक्छ र त्यतिखेर मात्रै नेशनल गभर्नमेन्ट भनेको हामी वी वुड बी अ भेरी सेल्फ डिपेन्डेन्ट कन्ट्री हामी त्यतिखेर मात्रै सेल्फ डिपेन्डेन्ट कन्ट्री हुन सक्छौं यसको लागि चाहिँ yes, the government must pay a lot of efforts on aid and even must spend adequate level of water expenditure on aid. Yeah. Now next, problems and effects of regulations on efficiency. First is effects of regulation on efficiency, what we already discussed here. The regulatory body of the government make efforts to control market power, such as monopoly, by creating competitive. Government must what there reduce the monopoly by creating the competitive environment through the what there antitrust policy. If this policy is not implemented, what happens efficiently and in the justified manner, it may create a cartel in the market which charges higher price and restrict the competition there. Therefore, taxes and subsidies are the instruments of government for the regulations. Taxes are imposed to correct negative externalities, what we already discussed. And other things there, the regulations in the form of patent rights and operating controls also cause economic inefficiency. Therefore, operating control may be lead to economic inefficiency due to poorly defined regulations, and patent right may also lead to economic inefficiency. Therefore, to control it, the government must prepare the various regulations, policies. Effect of this is first efficiency. Now the government failures. Now the government failure is the situation. What is the government failure then? If the government cannot control export and import, and cannot protect the right of the water, like capacity of the water, like national product, and protect the water national product by controlling the water import. At that time, the government will be failed. And other things that if the government not success to water, prepare a very competitive market in the competitive market, at that time also, the government will fail. Therefore, the government main objective is to increase, to improve or control the monopoly and increase the what? Market competitions. One side, this is in the country. And other sides there for the foreign aspect there, the government must what there? Improve, increase the water national product by water, making the good conducive environment water for the establishment of a lot of industry or enterprises in the country, and controlling the imports from the abroad for those goods which are not really necessary for the country's peoples there. And we can make the water capacity to increase the productions. Now the government fixes maximum or ceiling price. There will be situation of shortage, demand will exceed supply. If government fixes minimum prices or floor price above the natural market rate, there will be surplus. Supply will exceed demand. In this situation, there will be overproduction of goods and services, which will cause wastage of resources. It means that the government must fix the water selling of the productions there. What amount of product is required for the country and how it be possible to supply it. कसरी सप्लाई गर्ने? फर इक्जाम्पल हामी सुन्दैछौँ नि त, चामल हामीले किन्दैछौँ हो, हामीले झन्डै 60 अरबको चामल किन्छौँ भने पनि सरकारले 60 अरबको चामल चाहिँ उत्पादन गर्ने विधि गर्नु। Next time, हामीले चाहिँ तरकारी कति हो? That the government should calculate it. Then the government should calculate about what amount of water energy required and what amount of energy can be replaced through the what? Through the replacement of what? Electricity. हामी भन्दै थियौँ, अस्ति भन्दै थियौँ, हामीले के भन्दै थियौँ? यदि देशमा हामीले चाहिँ इलेक्ट्रिकल चार्जिङ बेस्ड चाहिँ भेहिकल्सहरु चाहिँ अनि के गर्न सक्यौं भने इम्पोर्ट गर्न सक्यौं भने हामी पेट्रोल डिजेलको चाहिँ खर्च घटाउन सक्छौं. At that time we no need to pay more amount of cost on these. भन्दै थियौं. यसको अर्थ के हो? What is that? Means we have to see the situations and then the government will be able to prepare the very effective environment in the country by putting the various water reports like ceiling price, ceiling of the productions there, and water and controlling the water supply and fixing the water minimum floor of the price, and even sometimes water minimum and maximum level of productions of goods and services there, which will always help to control the wastage of resources there. Certainly, even water, the government must fix what amount of resources should be utilized, yes, within a certain period of time, because some resources are so non-renewable resources. Then it would be for the long period of time, even future generations also. Therefore, for the non-renewable resources there, the government must fix the ceilings. What amount of water resources should be used within this year and what should be water replacing situations there by the others alternatives there. And other sides there, the government water can see the water non-renewable resources, renewable and non-renewable resources based water capacities and its analysis and make the ceilings and use it very properly. Okay. Now, the government, yes, failures due to the following steps and causes of failures and effects of water government failures for us. First is rigidities. त्यस्ता वस्तु तथा सेवाहरूमा या पोलिसिजहरुमा यदि रिजिडिटिज भयो भने के हुन्छ भने हामीले चाहिँ केही सोशल लस गर्छौं. फर एक्जाम्पल हामी सुन्दै थियौँ अस्ति बजेटमा या सदनमा सांसदहरू भन्दै हुनुहुन्थ्यो यो इलेक्ट्रिक भेहिकल्सहरू चाहिँ जेसुकै भए पनि यसको चाहिँ के त ट्याक्स घटाउँ भन्नु, तर चाहिँ सरकारले घटाएन, रिजिटमा बस्यो। अहिलेलाई भएन, जेसुकै भयो, अब हामी चाहिँ बोलेपछि बोल्यौँ भन्यो। अब यसले के गर्यो? सोसल लस गर्यो नि त। वाट आर द लसेस देयर? One side, even those people who are ready to purchase it, even high cost, then we lose money one side. And other sides were there. Yes. And other sides there. We lost the water. Other side there. If the people do not purchase the things, यदि उनीहरूले विद्युतीय के अरे गाडीहरू किनेनन् भने हामीसँग के हुन्छ भने हाम्रो चाहिँ पल्युसन बढ्छ। पल्युसन बढ्ने बित्तिकै के हुन्छ? पल्युसन कन्ट्रोलका लागि धेरै कस्टहरू बियर गर्नुपर्ने हुन्छ। त्यो के हो? लस भयो। यो के को कारणले? रिजिडिटिजको कारणले, अलिकति फ्लेक्सिबल नहुँदाको कारण। हेलो प्रताप, यु हेभ एनी क्वेसन? प्रताप पौडेल? Okay. Now, decision makers' objectives. Yes, decision makers' objectives. Certainly, there are different types of government. What we already discussed. सरकारहरू विभिन्न प्रकारका हुन्छन्। कोही सरकारहरू चाहिँ सेन्ट्रलाइज इकोनोमीलाई चाहिँ they could implement, try to implement. कोही चाहिँ मिक्स इकोनोमी चाहिँ के गर्छन्? लाई अप्लाई गर्ने भन्छ। कोही चाहिँ फ्री मार्केट इकोनोमीलाई चाहिँ अप्लाई गर्ने भन्छ। अब डिसिजन्स मेकर्स अब्जेक्टिभ इज व्हाट देयर के हो? दे आर rely on that ideology also, and at that time they can make appropriate different objectives there. Whether that objectives is very appropriate for the nations or not, it should be based on the market mechanism. It should be based on the people's capacity and etc. But if the rules or objectives is fitted without the analysis of the country situations there, then at that time the market would be very ineffective, and the government cannot success to hold the market mechanism very properly there, and at that time also there would be the market failures. And third, inefficient public choices there. People's choices are inefficient there, and they cannot rightly decide what is the good things and what is the bad things there, and what should be consumed very properly, what should not be, and what should be established for the national material based industry, or we choose the international raw material based industries there. के हो? हामी कस्तो चाहिँ के चुज गर्छौं त हामी इन्डस्ट्रीज गर्दा? अनि त्यस कारणले गर्दाखेरि पनि के गर्छ भने सरकारले जनताका केही चाहनाहरूलाई चाहिँ अनि पुरै कन्ट्रोल गर्न सक्दैन र उनीहरूको अनुसार इनएफिसिएन्ट पब्लिक चोइसेस भइदियो भने पनि सरकारले त्यतिखेर इनएबिलिटी टु एड्रेस कम्प्लेक्स इश्यूज देयर इन द राइट टाइम अर विदिन अ सर्ट पिरियड अफ टाइम। छिट्टै चाहिँ यस्ता सबै कुराहरूको कन्ट्रोल हुन्छन् भन्ने छैन र जनताको चोइसलाई पनि हामी चाहिँ त्यसरी नै के गर्न? हुन त हो नि, सरकारले भन्दैछ, के भन्दैछ? राष्ट्रिय खाना खाऊ, हो दाल भात तरकारी खाऊ, अनि जङ्क फुड नखाऊ, त्यस्ता कुराहरू चाहिँ के छ भन्दा अनि अनप्रिपेयर धेरै पहिलेदेखि प्रिपेयर भएका कुराहरू चाहिँ नखाऊ भन्दैछ नि त एकातिर। तर हाम्रो चाहिँ चोइस के छ भन्यो भने मानौ भनेको यही हो, केही नै नखाइ नहुने भन्ने छ। या एकछिनसम्म हामीले त्यस्तो कुरा बुझेनौँ भने के हुन्छ भने अनि त्यसले गर्दाखेरि सरकारले भन्न खोजेको कुरा पनि पुग्दैन। अर्को कुरा भनेको कहिलेकाहीँ हामी हेर्छौँ नि त, कहिलेकाहीँ हामी हेर्छौँ दुईटा कुरा, ती च्यवनप्रास ल मानौ, विदेशबाट आउने च्यवनप्रास पनि छ, नेपालमै उत्पादन भएको च्यवनप्रास पनि छ। अब जनताले चाहिँ कुन च्यवनप्रास त भन्दा होइन यो चाहिँ हिमालयनको या कसको भनेको यो पहिलेदेखिको यसको त हिस्ट्री कति छ कति भनेपछि यो उपभोग गर्नुपर्छ। नेपालको त हिस्ट्री त कम छ यो उत्पादन गरेको त। यसको अर्थ के हो भने हाम्रो चोइस के छ? त्यस कुरालाई पनि के त सरकारले धेरै कुराहरू चाहिँ के गर्छ एनालाइसिस गरेर यदि सही ढङ्गले केही कुराहरू निर्णय गर्न सक्यो भने अनि त्यसले गर्दा त्यो चाहिँ के हुन्छ यसको चाहिँ गभर्मेन्ट फेलियर नहुने विधिहरू हुन्छ त्यसैले these are the what their causes and these are the what effects. Therefore, what are the causes and effects? Then you have to analyze. If you are involving in your industry or enterprises there, then you should be very aware about all these situations of the government or social what their activities there. And then you'd be a very capable person to solve all these problems before or earlier than the occur. And at that time, you can protect, save the unnecessary cost in the futures there from your right decisions today. That's it. Now next, theory of public choices. The theory is philosophy of how government decisions are made and implemented. It considers how government and the political process actually work rather than how they should work. It clearly recognizes the possibility of government failure or situation where public policies reflect narrow private interest rather than the public interest. Yes, whether you are involving in the water like policy makers, if you are the policy makers there, then what is your visions for the nations there? How you think your vision is very narrow and it is private interest. Then what happened? Certainly, the country will lose a lot of things. It start to lose from today, and it will be what they continuously suffer in the future. And therefore, it should be what their public interest is. Next, that is this public theory of public choice is based on the ground that individual attempt to promote personal interest in the political field, just as they seek to promote private economic interest in the marketplace. At that time, economists have long recognized that when an individual pursues private economic interest in the marketplace, that person is moved by the invisible hand to also promote the welfare of a society of Israel. Therefore, here, if the government succeeds to recognize the situations and move from that situations there, then it can help to improve the capacity of the whole society there by removing the private interest. Or always are very success to improve our private economic interest by keeping the mind of the their country's interest there, then at that time also there would be the their social welfare. We can able to the social welfare through the invisible hands. That is what from a lot of positive economic activities there. Therefore, we should be very capable to, yes, extend various positive activity there. One side, you should be benefited. At the same time, you should not forget to your their community, they would be benefited little. And you don't compromise about the futures there. At that time, yes, you'll able to cope the capacity of you and your generations and your future generations there. Therefore, the government always try to, the government main objective is always for the welfare, promote the welfare of the society as well. Through the Through the various policies, programs, decisions, implementations, and edits. Okay. Now, theory of public choice. Then what are the theory of public choice there? What are the public choice are guided? Certainly, public choices are guided by the following there. This public choice theory examines how government decisions are made and implemented by analyzing the behavior of four broad group of participants there in the political system, which are followed. First, voters. Certainly, voters are very important for the water government there. At any time, there would be the water elections there. Therefore, the government always aware about the elections there. And at that time, sometimes what happened, even it is water, right, for the very water futures there. निकै भविष्यको लागि चाहिँ अति आवश्यक हो, तर पनि आजको चाहिँ सोसाइटीले, आजको भोटर्सहरूले त्यो मानेनन् भने सरकारले गर्न सक्दैन। यसको अर्थ के हो भने द गभर्नमेन्ट cannot go beyond the voters there. It may be. Yes, therefore, yes, sometimes the voters may be what there. Yes, ask the government to choose these policies for the wider country that will help for our total protections, and it is that vote is very important. And next, politicians' capacity there. You can see the politicians, because we cannot rule as a CEO of a company. You cannot rule the country, because who rules the country? Then politicians. Then what is the generation of the politicians? The politician को generation के छ? कस्तो background र उनीहरु कस्तो thinking छ र उनीहरु के चाहन्छन् र उनीहरु भोलि के चाहन्छन्? What is their views on it? Whether they are thinking for the futures or they are thinking only for the todays. That is the very important there. And next, special interest group. Certainly, there is a very special interest groups हुन्छ। उनीहरुलाई चाहिँ के चाहिँदैन भने राजनीति जो भए पनि जहाँ जुन व्यवस्था आए पनि उनीहरु जहिले पनि के हुन्छन् सेन्टरमा हुन्छन्। They would be in the center हो र उनीहरु चाहिँ जहिले पनि के हुन्छ सेन्टरमा बसेर एउटा लेभलको नाफा बेनिफिट and a lot of what there like facilities have been what there enjoying there. अब त्यो ग्रुपलाई चाहिँ कुन लेभलमा चाहिँ ह्यान्डल गर्न सक्छ सरकारले, त्यसको आधारमा पनि के हुन्छ कन्ट्रोल गर्न सक्छ, ह्यान्डल गर्न सक्छ, तिनीलाई चाहिँ राइट वेमा चाहिँ युज गर्न सक्छ। त्यो ग्रुपलाई चाहिँ त्यो ग्रुपको आधारमा पनि के हुन्छ भने यो पब्लिक चोइस चाहिँ निर्धारण हुने गर्छ। And next, bureaucrats. What is the bureaucrat there? That the administrative capacity of the country. सरकारको administrative capacity के छ ताकि त्यो सरकारले आफूले चाहिँ prepare गरेको, they prepare the programs, they prepare the policies and programs there, who will what they implement in the futures there, rightly from today even. Then bureaucrats there. Then what is the capacity of the bureaucrats there? कस्तो छ त bureaucrats को capacity? They can cooperate very perfectly there. For example, we did जस्तै हामीले अनलाइन क्लास सुरु गरौँ भन्यो भने तुरुन्तै गर्न सक्यौ नि त हो। अब सबैले अनलाइन क्लास गर्न सक्यौ कि सकेनौ त देशभरि भन्यो भने सकेन होला। यसको अर्थ के हो? त्यस्तै एउटा कुनै चाहिँ ब्युरोक्रेसीमा पनि डिफरेन्ट टाइप्स अफ के छ पिपल्स हुन्छ। दे आर लेभल अफ क्यापासिटी of thinking, doing, implementing, and etc. there. Therefore, what is the bureaucrats situations there? Are they dynamic? Are they ready to change? Are they ready to implement it within the right time? भनेकै समयमा चाहिँ त्यसलाई सम्पन्न गर्न रेडी छन्, सक्षम छन्, क्यापेबल छन्, त्यो खालको ट्रेनिङ छ कि छैन? This depends on that. Therefore, yes, these political systems are the very, very, very important. Yes. Must factors which are playing the vital role for the wider public choices there that protect the right of the people's very property or not, and other things can wider implement effective policies for the wide control of the market and export and import situations in our respective choice of benefits or countries' benefit there. Yes. Next, policy implication of public choice theory. Yes, it's very important here. Therefore, the characterizations of the political process by public choice theorists is sometimes viewed as suspicious. Many voters are well informed and unselfish in their political basic principle simply to minimize, yes, chances for confirmation. Collectively important public interest prevails more often than the might accept. Therefore, powerful special interest groups are sometimes defeated there if the government is very capable here. The government bureaucracies, yes, bureaucracies are often supervised by well-intentioned and committed public servants. Of all the what is self-benefits there or individual benefits there, they start to think for the national benefit there. Then at that time only what there, that public choice theory would be implemented very properly. Therefore, that implementer should be very capable there. This is main thing. Very promptly, very successively, and you always try to trust to know the what very new developed situations and compare you nationally and internationally there, and compare the various what there like working procedures in the country and international society, and you change your capacity, yes, as required of the 21st century, and then you'd be a very capable persons there. And you can also what there guide the government. The government is with the government. Certainly, the government is not a yes government that only the apex body, but it depends on our foundations there. Every people what we do, yes, that reflects the government's. That reflects the government's capacity of the country there. Therefore, if you are working in the field of what they like industry, enterprises, firm, and like that there, then you should be very aware of all these things there, and then prepare that what their capacity. If everybody prepare that capacity to change and capacity to protect, then capacity to implement, then that is the what the main public choice, and it is the implementation mechanisms for the what the yes national what political process there. Yeah. Now you understand that your industry or enterprises is not only yes depend on you. It depends on the national interest also there, national policies and programs. Therefore, you should be aware again on this. Now, yes, nevertheless, there this contradiction do not undermine the theory of public choices. The public policy can improve the economic system in the presence of market failure. The public policy process itself is subject to yes, systematic influences that can lead to the government failure. The theory of public choices can be used to suggest institutional changes that can lead to improvement in public sector performance there, what I already discussed. We discussed. One method that public choice theory suggests for public sector performance is to subject government department and organizations to private market competition whenever possible there. Therefore, there would be the very effective linkage there, linkage in between private and public sectors there properly to improve the performance there, from which every two wheels of a car should be moved together. एउटा रथका दुई पाङ्ग्रा सँगै हिँड्न सकियोस् ताकि सबै मिलेर हामी चाहिँ पब्लिक चोइसलाई चाहिँ पब्लिक क्यापासिटीलाई इम्प्रुभ गर्न सकियोस्. At that time, the country would be what they're very successful country, and all the private sector of the country would be what they're very successful there through the government what their facilitations there, and the government will able to what there achieve the objective of Sukhi Nepali, Khushi Nepali. Yes, for this purpose, most important aspect is how you able to what there, yes, utilize your resources based on the policies and programs, and how to, yes, how to improve your capacity of the production continuously than before, and achieve the earnings with the what there high level of satisfaction there. That is important thing. Therefore, whether you or the country's government, always try to see the word there, benefit for all, benefit for all, and happiness for all. This is the thing. Therefore, as you are the students of economics, you don't think only the word there, profit. You don't think only the word there, yourself, but you have to think about the, yes, societal interest, public interest, or national interest, where your work would be very worshipable or supportable by the others. If you are a business people, you are involving in the water industry or enterprises, then you keep in mind that then your successive capacity would be very model for the others there, and they will start to follow you, and that foundation would be the very model for the government. Yes. Thank you very much. From this, we completed our, yes, course. Today, we are not going to discuss about the exercise, numericals there. Yes, we'll discuss about it in next class.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and press the bell icon.